Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 5 and we are here to report the Chapter 3 of the book entitled The Needs Assessment. But before anything else, I want you to meet my team. So for our reporters for today, we have Mr. Jules Macapanas, Jasmine V. Lim, Miss Marjorie Imperial Lorilla, Mr. Howard Ilan Dingin, and Mr. James Vincent Melchor. And of course, you have me, your first reporter for today. I am Natasha Elaine G. Mamangon. So for our main topics, we have Introduction to Needs Assessment, the importance of needs analysis, the methods used in needs assessment, the needs assessment process, the competency models, the scope of needs assessment. And for our objectives at the end of this lesson, we must be able to understand the roles of organization, person and task analysis in needs assessment, identify the methods of needs assessment and evaluate their pros and cons, and thirdly, we have to recognize the concerns of managers and trainers in needs assessment. Fourth is explain how person characteristics, input, output, consequences, and feedback affect performance and learning. Our fifth is to establish conditions to ensure employees are receptive on training. And second to the last is outline the steps for conducting a task analysis and analyze task analysis data to identify training needs. And lastly is to understand competency models and their development processes. So before we go over with our topic, I want you to have an overview first with NetApp company, because this NetApp company had created a good training development program, and they use the need assessment properly. So the NetApp company, they are formerly known as Network Appliance Incorporation. It's a multinational corporation in the computer and technological industry. They specialize in data storage hardware, software, and cloud services. They are the global leader in storage and data management solutions. They operate in 130 offices worldwide with over 8,000 employees. They consistently rank among the top 15 best workplaces by Fortune magazine. It has been featured on the 100 best company to work for list for 6 consecutive years. So it's not easy to achieve this, but with the dedication of the executives of this company, they were able to create a training and development programs for their employees. Especially there is a rapid growth. There is a rapid company growth for NetApp. So they required better training for newly hired support engineers. So they created the training and development programs, which is called the TOAST. It's training on all special things, wherein there's a new hire orientation program that are being led by their top level executives. They also have the NetApp University, wherein it provides them with extensive trainings for employees. And since they already have existing programs, but then after they did needs assessment, they were able to locate that this programs are inadequate for developing the troubleshooting process, systems, operations, and soft skills that are very necessary for providing the world-class support for on their company. So what did they do? They created and conducted needs assessment. So what they did is they have focus groups of NetApp's best performers. They consulted these top performers, and with that, they were able to identify what are the skills required to perform the job efficiently and be able to provide world-class support. So there were over 1,400 tasks that are identified, and they were ranked by difficulty, frequency, and importance. So all in all, there were 500 tasks that they were able to identify as critical for support engineers to master within their first years. So what they did after they identified this 500 tasks is they created a new training program. So sa training program na yon, it includes self-paced e-learning. So meaning to say, they have this modules online that their employees are able to do at their own pace. So it's just like online courses. These are the self-paced e-learning. Then hands-on classroom work. Of course, they were also the trainees. They were also given classroom homeworks that they passed on the company's portal. And then case studies based on the real customer interactions and the support systems that experienced employees did. So before even experiencing it themselves, since they are new hire, they are able to learn what are the things they need to do if this certain situation comes up, because they have case studies for that. So it's a helpful program design that helps the new support engineers to be equipped with the necessary skills and expertise to meet the increasing demands for the services with their company. So all in all, the bottom line for this is, since NetApp was able to use the needs assessment properly, they are able to create and choose a training method that is necessary for the trainees that are necessary for trainees to learn. So as per our discussion in chapter 1, we're able to learn that an effective training practices, it involves the use of training design process. So when we say training design process, it's like the plan or the structure for creating training programs. And it all begins with needs assessment. So what is needs assessment? So when we say needs assessment, it refers to the process used to determine whether training is necessary. It involves 3 types of analysis, which is organizational, person, and task analysis. And it is also the first step in the instructional design process, just as I have mentioned. So why do we need to determine whether training is necessary or not? It's for us to not lose or waste our resources, our time, our effort, our money in creating training programs that are not going to be the solution for company problems. So, mentioned a while ago that needs assessment typically involves organizational analysis, person analysis, and task analysis. So we're just gonna have an overview with this analysis, because later on our other reporters are gonna dig deeper into this topic, so that we will be able to have a clear understanding with these topics. So when we say organizational analysis, it just evaluates the appropriateness of training based on the company's goals, business strategy, available resources, and also the support from managers and peers. And when we say person analysis, it just simply means that we are identifying who are the people that needs training. And the task analysis, which identifies the key task, the key activities, like for what the activities or this task involves, the knowledge and skills and behaviors that employees needs to have to successfully perform this job, or to perform this task. And so the figure 3.1 on the next slide, the causes and outcomes of needs assessment. So we have reasons or pressure points, legislation, lack of basic skills, poor performance, new technology, and many more. These things are the one that suggests that training is going to be necessary. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, or it doesn't 100% guarantee that training is going to be the correct solution to solve this issue and address these problems. And we also have the different analysis, which is the organization, task, and person analysis. So with this, needs assessment plays a key role in this training design process. So this figure 3.1, it's a training design process, alright. So as you can see, we have different analysis. So to make it simple, in needs assessment, this design training design process, it provides crucial information on first, who needs training, which is the person analysis. So who are going to be the people involved, the employees that are going to be involved with the training. Task analysis. So we're going to need to identify what they need to learn. Is it, are they going to need to learn their task? They're going to need to learn more knowledge, the skills or behaviors, something like that. And also for organization analysis. So in here, it helps the company, the needs assessment, it also helps the company to decide whether to outsource training or develop it internally. Because we have to also consider, before creating a training program or a design process, we have to consider the company itself. So are the company capable on providing the needs for the training design, because we're gonna need the budget for that, the people, the place, and many other more. And of course, we have to make sure that the training design process that we're gonna do is aligned with the business strategy of the company. And of course, the outcome. So this outcome is going to be very helpful for the design, training design process, because you can see it's listed in here what are the things you need to address with the training. So what trainees need to learn, who will receive the training, what training method is going to be appropriate, and many other more. So by understanding this training design process, we're going to be able to create and choose the best training methods that will provide the key information on how we're going to measure how are we going to measure the effectiveness of the training itself. So what is the importance of needs assessment? It ensures that training is the right solution for performance issues, so that we don't lose or waste our time, effort, and money creating training plans, programs, and implementing it, and in the end it's ineffective because it's not the right solution. So that's just what are we trying to avoid, and that's why it's very important to have a needs assessment first before we go over creating a training for them. So we have different implications if ever the needs assessment is not properly conducted. One of it is training may be incorrectly used as a solution to a performance problem. For example, ang problema mo is employee motivation. So even if you create a training program or a training plan for that, it's not gonna solve anything because it's not the correct solution. So you can, if it's employee motivation, you can provide more incentives, create enticing benefits so that your employee could be motivated, or create recognitions so that they will feel valuable as an employee of your company, something like that. Next is training program may have the wrong content, objectives, or methods. Of course, needs assessment is the first step for instructional design process. So, if hindi mo ito gagawin ng maayos, hindi ka rin makakagawa ng magandang and maayos na instructional design process. It's not gonna be effective kasi you have the wrong content, you have the wrong objectives and methods. So, for you to be able to align all of that, you just have to do or conduct the needs assessment properly. So trainees may be sent to training programs for which they do not have the basic skills, prerequisite skills, or confidence needed to learn. Kasi we do needs assessments to identify who are the people that's gonna be involved with the training. For us to identify what training are gonna be suitable for these people so that it's gonna be effective. So if we're not gonna be able to put the right people for the training, of course this situation could occur. What if the training programs that you made includes trainees that should have certain skills or certain expertise or experience, and then you put a newbie in there, and they don't have these things, they don't have the basic skills yet, they don't have the experience yet. how are they supposed to give you the result that you want when you as the person who created the program is not even doing the job properly and not assigning the right people for the training to be effective. Next is training will not deliver the expected learning, behavior change, or financial results that the company expects. So, ayun din, just like the same examples. So, of course, for the training to have a good outcome, the training should be suitable and aligned with the business strategy. It should align with what the people or the trainees need to learn, because if not, it's not going to be effective and you're not going to get the right if and you're not going to get a good result out of the training. So don't expect anything. So next is money will be spent on training programs that are unnecessary because they are unrelated to the company's business strategies. So with needs assessment, we are able to identify and align our training plans and our training designs to the organization. So if we fail to do that, expect that the money and the resources you spend with the training, it's not gonna come back. It's just gonna go to waste, because it should be aligned with the business strategies, goals, and objectives of the company, so that you will have the result that you want.
Good day everyone, my name is Jules, and the topic that I'm gonna discuss today is all about assessment. But first I'm gonna discuss who are the participant in the assessment. So the first is the manager, the second is the trainer, and the third one is the employee. So bakit manager ang needs to conduct an assessment? Of course, alam nila yung mga layunin ng kumpanya. Like for example, mission and vision. If they have a mission and vision, it means dapat yung mga empleyado nila is ma-meet yung goals ng mission at vision nila. That's why number one is the manager. The second one is the trainer. So they are the one train the newly hired employee in the company, and the last one is the employee. So they are the one na ititrain ng mga trainee after they undergo for an assessment. So the topic time I'm gonna discussing next is the methods of assessment. So the number one is familiar naman tayo dito, is the diagnostic assessment. So this is used to identify employees' strengths and weaknesses. Like for example, parang hindi ka pa lang mag-start dun sa trabaho mo, there are some specific assessment in your position. This can or dito malalaman kung ano yung knowledge mo, or ano pa yung kailangan i-improve sa'yo. So the second one naman is formative assessment. This is the ongoing feedback given during a project or training to help employees improve as they progress. So like for example, in the company, there are newly hired employees that has start his or her first day of work. So yung mga manager nag-iikot-ikot yan based on my experience as a former Jollibee worker. From day one, parang i-assess ako ng mga TL or senior ko kung anong knowledge ko about dun sa work na gagawin ko. And the other day, parang formative assessment ako. Parang i-give ako ng feedback about dun sa performance na ginagawa ko, just like in the company. So, the purpose of that is to help the employees improve as they progress. So, the third one is interim assessment. It is a type of evaluation conductive as a specific intervals during a project or period to measure the progress. So let's take an example is the BDO employees. 'Di ba may 3 months of training sila. Within those 3 months, after those let's say 6 weeks of training, parang magkakandak ng assessment kung about dun sa ginagawa nila, if they have a progress in the specific job that they do in the organization. The fourth one is the summative assessment. So dito malalaman yung final evaluation of employees performance after they completing a project or training. Dito naman parang this is the overall stats or kung na-meet ba nila yung goals ng assessment or training. Dito malalaman, like for example, yung mga nag-undergo ng mga training, parang ina-assess sila sa company if there are improvement in their skills or there are no enhances in their skills. So that malaman ng trainer na hindi approve yung pagtitrain nila. After that, parang mas pagbubutihan pa nila to meet the goals or the objectives of the training. So the importance of this assessment is the organization can identify areas of improvement and help employees reach their full potential. So just like I said last sa mga past na sinabi ko is nagtitrain sila for them to enhance their skills and also for the sake of the company, and it can help their organization to up tier or mas mapapataas nila yung competitive advantage nila. So these are the few methods that use in assessment. The first one is observing employees. So we need to observe the employees as a manager for the manager to know whether i-improve pa nila yung pagtitrain sa mga employees or sakto na ba. The second one is the utilizing online technology. Kumbaga magbibigay ka dito ng mga forms, Google Docs, ipapasa mo sa kanila and then answer sila doon ng specific question regarding to their work. The second one is reading a technical manual and documents. So this one is the HR or the manager read some article or document that can improve their employees so that it can enhance their physical and critical thinking skills in the workforce of the organization. The fourth one is interviewing. So you need to interview your employee for you to know what their needs or what their situation in the specific organization that they belong. The last one is the questionnaire. You need to send like for example yung company nyo after mo mag-train, nagbibigay sila mga questionnaire. If mataas yung mga score nila, ibig sabihin na meet yung goals ng training. If not naman, maybe you need to improve or reconstruct or innovate their training so that they can gain idea. So the objectives of the assessment is the result from assessment process should provide information. So just like I said lastly, parang nakikita yung need na pa ba nilang improve and also it can be determine whether or not intended learning outcomes that faculty had set are being achieved. If the training is successful, of course the goal has been met. So that is the objectives of the assessment in the company. It can help them in their future or it can help their workforce, and also it can give them a competitive advantage in the
The need assessment process may 3 elements. So, first, organization analysis. Tinitingnan natin yung overall ng organization. And second, personal analysis. Nakafocus naman siya sa individual needs ng employee. And tax analysis naman, ito naman yung ina-analyze yung specific requirements para sa tax or job. So, itong tatlong to is magkakakonekta and Also, pwede rin sila mag-conduct ng need assessment process in any order. So, nakakatulong to para malaman yung gaps for improvement sa loob ng organization. Organization analysis is about checking training programs align the company. Tinitingnan nito yung mga namamahala o yung coworkers na employee kung kasama sa training at kung ano yung mga resources na magagamit dito, time or money na magagamit para dito. Company direction. So, ito naman yung for growth and success na nakakaapekto kung paano nag-train yung employee at kung anong uri ng training yung marireceive nila. For example, yung company nila is nakafocus sa pagbabago. Kailangan nila mag-provide ng training sa bagong technology sa loob ng company at nakadepende din ito sa strategic goals nila. And dapat sinisigurado din dapat yung skills na employee na kinakailangan para dito. Training resources is about company needs to provide effective training. So, include ba dito yung checking if yung company may enough na budget pambayad para sa training na mangyayari and enough ba yung time to schedule and right skills or knowledge para makonduct yung training. Choosing a vendors of consultants. So, meaning, if yung company is gusto bilhin yung training programs, instead na gumawa sila ng sarili. So, kailangan nilang makapili ng magandang provider. These providers can be individual experts, consultants company, or schools para makahanap ng right vendors. And, which is formal request na pwede makatulong sa kanila na makita yung iba't ibang providers na pwedeng mag-offer. A request for proposal. So, is a document that tells potential vendors and consultants what kind of service the company needs, include the details like how many reference they want, ilang employees yung need para dun sa training, yung budget para sa project, kung kailan matatapos yung project na makakatulong sa company para makahanap ng right providers para sa training needs.
So, good day everyone. My name is Marjorie Lorilla and I'm going to tackle about the person analysis and the task analysis. So, first, dito muna tayo sa person analysis. What does person analysis means? So, the person analysis basically, ito yung mga tao, ito yung mga employee na ina-analyze ng employer or ng mga training leader kung sino yung mga employee na kailangan ng training. So, sa person analysis, meron tayong process. So, the first one is person characteristics, second input, output, consequences, and feedback. So, dito muna tayo sa person characteristics. So, meron tayong basic skills, cognitive ability, readability, and self-efficacy. So, ano yung basic skills? So, eto lang yung employee or yung trainee na kailangan meron ka kahit papano alam sa task na gagawin. Para kahit papano kapag pinasample kayo, halimbawa, kahit papano makaka-execute ka. So, the second one is the cognitive ability. So, meron tayong tatlo. Cognitive ability, which is the comprehension, verbal comprehension, the, what did you call this? Quantitative ability, and lastly is the reasoning ability. So, pagdating sa verbal comprehension, ito lang yung kailangan kapag nakikipag-usap ka or kapag kinakausap ka, naiintindihan mo, nagigets mo yung sinasabi niya. Para pagdating sa training mismo, hindi ka mame-mental block, hindi ka mako-confuse kung ano na nga ba yung gagawin mo ulit. Kasi nakinig ka sa kanya at naintindihan mo lahat ng ini-explain niya. So, the next one is the quantitative ability. So, dito, kailangan lang is, kahit paano marunong ka mag-compute, marunong ka sa mga numbers, kasi, halimbawa, yung company o yung kailangan ng computation, kahit paano, hindi ka mahihirapan. And the last one is the reasoning ability. So, dito talaga dapat kailangan, marunong ka sa mga logic. Yun lang yan. Readability. So, dito naman, kung Sa cognitive ability, merong dapat verbal comprehension. Dito naman sa readability, kailangan magaling ka rin or marunong ka rin sa reading comprehension. Yun lang yun. The last one is self-efficacy. So, sa self-efficacy, ito yung mga employee na may confidence sa sarili nila na yung task na yun or yung training na yun, kayang-kaya nilang gawin. Kayang-kaya nilang i-execute. So, next is the aware of training needs, career interest, and goals. So, kailangan na yung mga empleyado alam yung kung bakit nila ginagawa yung training, kung ano yung gusto nilang or saan sila interesado, mas interesadong career, and kung ano yung mga goals nila sa loob ng kampanya if ever na matapos yung training. Or halimbawa, nasa kasalukuyan sila. Halimbawa, nasa training sila, ano yung goal na gusto nilang ma-reach or ma-accomplish. So, basically, or matik, of course, maging successful yung training. Yun yung isa sa mga goal nila. So, tapos na tayo sa person characteristics. Dito naman tayo sa input. Sa input, meron tayong dalawa, which is the situational constraints and the social support. Ano yung situational constraints? Ito yung halimbawa nasa kasalukuyang training nasa training ka, nasa kalagitnaan ka ng training. So, tapos merong mga gamit na or halimbawa garments na kakailanganin na wala or hindi na ibigay sa inyo. Yun. So, bale, ang gagawin mo dito is didiskarte ka kung paano mo mai-execute yung task or yung job sa training or yung training na lack of garments, ganyan. So, kailangan mong diskartehan kasi nasa situational ka. So, pagdating naman dun sa social support, ito yung nagkakandak talaga or nagbibigay yung managers or yung trainers sa mga trainee ng mga kakailanganing gamit para sa training. So, next is the output. Dito naman sa output, kailangan naiintindihan ng mga trainee or ng mga empleyado na gagawa ng training na kung hanggang saang level lang ba yung ipe-perform nila. Kung halimbawa, kailangan nilang sobrang galingan or kailangan sakto lang para lang may execute yung training. Kasi, kapag halimbawa nakapasa ka dun sa training, gagawin mo naman yan sa loob ng company or ng organization. So, kailangan naiintindihan nila hanggang saang level lang ba sila kailangang pag-igihan yung performance nila sa training. So, sa consequences naman, dito na tayo sa consequences. Halimbawa, ang isang empleyado, ang isang trainee, hindi siya naniniwala sa rewards or parang hindi niya iniisip na halimbawa kapag na-accomplish niya yung training is ma-rewardan siya or makakapasok agad siya sa isang company at magtatrabaho agad siya. While hindi niya mamimit yung halimbawa hindi niya ma-accomplish actually yung ginagawa niya sa training. Kasi wala naman siyang pakialam wala naman siyang pakialam kung halimbawa maging successful or kung ano man yung maging performance niya dun sa training at kung ano man yung magiging reward nun. Basically, sa feedback, so, yung magiging response, halimbawa, sa mga trainee, ano yung makukuha nilang incentives, ano yung magiging balik sa kanila ng ginawa nilang training. Like, for example, gumawa sila ng training. Tapos, magkakaproblema lang yon halimbawa, kasi magde-demand yung mga trainee. Kasi halimbawa, gumawa sila, nag-training sila, tapos wala man lang silang nakuhang feedback or malinaw na paliwanag kung bakit wala silang nakuhang feedback. So, anong iisipin ng mga yun? So, baka papasok sa isip nila na baka hindi naging effective yung training na ginawa nila or baka hindi sila naging magaling dun sa training na ginawa. So, kailangan may maayos, may klaradong feedback na babalik sa mga trainee. So, ngayon naman, dumako na tayo dito sa task analysis. Ang task analysis, basically, ito na yung task or ito na yung ipinerform ng mga trainee. Ito na yung i-analyze nila. I-analyze na nila yung mga pinerformed ng trainee. So, next is, dito naman tayo sa task analysis or steps in task analysis. So, meron tayong 4 na steps in task analysis. So, The first one is selecting the job to be, you have to select the job to be analyzed. So, kailangan mong, kung kanina meron tayong person analyzation, ngayon naman meron tayong job analyzation. So, kailangan mong pumili or kailangan mag-select na kung ano nga ba yung job na i-analyze. So, the second one is develop a preliminary list of tasks performed on the job. The third one is validating and confirming the preliminary list of tasks on the job. And lastly, once the task have been identified, it's also important to analyze the knowledge, skills, abilities that necessary to successfully perform that specific task. So that's all, and thank you very much.
Good day everyone, and good day especially kay ma'am. I'm your next reporter, Howard T. Landingin, and my topic is all about competency model. So, bilang future HR kasi, mahalaga ang role natin sa company. Why? Because nasa atin nakadepende ang workforce ng company. Sa atin magmumula mga employee nito. Ngayon, bilang HR, dapat marunong tayong mag-assess ng mga applicants. Marunong tayong mag-assess ng mga capabilities nila para ma-accomplish yung kakailanganin sa kumpanya. Including na rito yung knowledge, skills, especially yung attitude ng employee, behavior, and personality. Dito na papasok yung competency models. From the word itself, competency. Competency kasi, it refers to an area of personal capability. Siyempre, including na rin dito yung knowledge, skills, attitudes ng individual. So, what is competency models? Competency modeling. I-refer lang natin siya sa trabaho. Competency, i-refer natin siya sa trabaho. Ayun dito. Sabi sa slide, competency modeling is a new approach to needs assessment that focuses on identifying personal capabilities. Ayun, self-explanation, competency, nasabi ko kanina, it refers to personal capability. Kumbaga, competency modeling, ito lang yung magiging guideline ng HR or magiging framework siya ng HR para i-assess yung applicant. One way na para ma-understand natin ng maayos yung competency modeling is i-compare natin siya sa job analysis. Diba? When we say job analysis kasi, ito yung mga tasks, duties, and responsibilities. At the same time, ganun din naman yung competency modeling. It refers to task, duties, and responsibilities naman. Ngayon kasi ang job analysis, it is the process kung ano yung dapat gawin ng employee. Kumbaga, ano. Meanwhile, competency modeling is kung paano. Paano gagawin ng employee para ma-fulfill niya yung task sa kanya. Ay kita yung pagkakaiba? Ano at paano? Job analysis, ano yung mga dapat gawin ng employee? Competency modeling, kung paano tatapusin ng employee yung kanyang task. Paano tatapusin ng applicant? Ayun. Next slide is importance of competency modeling. First bullet, identify behaviors. Ayun. Paano siya na-identify? Tulad ng nasabi ko kanina kasi, paano siya natapos ng employee or applicant. Diba? In that way, nakikita na natin yung knowledge, skill ng behavior ng ating ina-assess. Next one is provide a tool to determine necessary skills. It also help na kung ano pa yung mga skill na needed or i-polish ng employee. O pwede rin naman siya, uy, yung ganyang skill mo, yung ganyang knowledge mo, pwede ka dito sa position na to. Hindi, kumbaga, let's say for example, yung applicant is nag-apply siya sa ganitong position. And then yung inassess na natin siya bilang HR, ako yung HR, inassess natin siya, uy, okay yung behavior mo, okay yung skills and knowledge mo, pwede ka sa ibang position. Parang ganon. Next bullet, provide framework for ongoing coaching and feedback. Dito na, ito na yung parang roadmap natin para sa isang employee. Kung ano pa yung mga kung ano pa yung mga pwedeng i-improve niya sa kanyang skills. Kumbaga, kung ano pa yung mga madedevelop niya for future success of the company. Dito rin papasok yung succession planning, ba? Uy, okay yung performance mo. Tuloy-tuloy mo lang yan. Pwede, and at the future, mga ilang taon, pwede ka na mapunta sa mga managerial positions. Ba? Something like that. Next slide is process used in developing a competency model. First one is conduct business and strategy analysis. Dito na yung kung ano ba yung mga dapat baguhin or dapat idagdag sa company natin. Kasi 'di ba may mga naluluma and lalo na ngayon kailangan natin sumabay sa mga trends. Strategy analysis. Second is identify jobs position or job family. Ayun, dito naman dito na yung paglalagay natin ng job description para sa gantong position ay para ma-fill natin yung mga vacant or mga needs pa sa isang company. Kumbaga, yung first one is analyzing, second is planning, and third one is conduct interviews and focus groups with top performers. Kumbaga, ito yung third, ito na yung action. Diba kumbaga, interview, sasalain na natin yung effective applicant and yung applicant na medyo down. Medyo sa job description natin. Next slide. The fourth is develop competencies and the competency model. Ayun, kung pasok ba sila sa mga competency na nakakailanganin natin para sa kung pasok ba yung employee sa competency na dinevelop natin bilang HR. Para kung effective, dito na na-identified yung potential candidate natin para sa isang job position. Last one is validate and review the model. And self-explanatory, validation na siya. Kumbaga dito na papasok yung offeran ka na ng company, bibigyan ka na ng monthly, mga ganon, o job offer na sa employee nilang kung tatanggapin or kung pasok. Ayun. Last is example of competencies and a competency model. Ayun, ito. Kita naman sa picture. Yan. Example siya ng competencies and a competency model. Yung competency dito is ayan na mismo. Yung 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tas competency model Yung competency pala itong nasa under ng technical cluster. Ability to design complex software. Tapos yung competency model, ito yung rating 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh? Ma'am, palinaw na lang ma'am, sorry po. And scope, and next reporter, scope of need assessment. Kaya mo na yun, Melchor.
Good day to each everyone, especially kay ma'am. Good evening po. My name is James Vincent Melchor from the Group 5. And, ayun, so kanina, diniscuss ni Mr. Howard yung about sa competency model, which ito yung mga skills daw. I believe na ito yung mga skills na hinahanap ni employer kay employee na makakatulong sa isang organization to siguro reach yung goal na perform better. So, ngayon, ang topic ko naman is scope of need assessment. So, siguro, basahin ko muna yung tag dito, yung PPT. So, dito, makalagay na sa akin, scope of need assessment. So, need assessment is important because a manager or other client asking for training could really be asking for or need something else. Next slide. A rapid need assessment refers to a needs assessment that is done quickly and accurately but without sacrificing the quality of the process or the outcomes. So, base dun sa nabasa ko, ano nga ba yung scope of need assessment? So, scope of need assessment, I believe na ito yung parang way natin or ito yung parang systematic approach, no, na which makakatulong sa atin na i-identify, no? Parang isa siyang way to identify and i-evaluate yung mga gaps, yung mga needs ng employee natin so that therefore makapag-perform sila ng much better sa isang organization. Sa isang organization kasi, base din sa dito, nabasa ko, may mga pressure daw yun. Ito yung parang mga pressure points, yung mga parang kumbaga nagiging hinder sa isang organization. So, next, si employee number 1, medyo mahina siya sa ganitong bagay. Si employee number 2, hindi siya makapag-perform ng maayos, hindi siya makasabay, mga ganun. Yung mga pressure point. So, meron daw tayong rapid need assessment. So, ito yung gano'n na nabasa ko kanina. Ito yung parang dito. Parang ito yung from the word rapid, mabilisan. Tapos, mabilis ang action without sacrificing daw yung magiging outcomes, no? So, maring programs, training programs, meetings, something na ganun, research, basta mahanap na natin yung pressure point or yung nagiging hinder sa isang organization. So ngayon, dun sa na-search ko, meron tayong parang key aspects. Meron akong 5 na-search dun. Tama ba? May 5 yun. Meron siyang una dun yung, syempre, alam na natin yung mga pressure point. Una dun is yung identifying gaps. So ngayon, na-identify na natin yung gaps. Alam na natin kung ano yung weaknesses, no? O yung strength, ano yung nagpapabigat sa isang organization. So, ngayon, makapag-perform tayo ng programs, actions, para masolusyonan yung conflict plan. Ngayon, next one is yung determining the training requirements. So, hindi naman tayo pwede basta-basta mag-conduct ng programs, no? Dapat specific dun sa pangangailangan ng isang organization. So, next one is yung workforce planning. So, I believe that yung parang proper alignment since alam na natin kung ano yung strength and weaknesses nito. Magamit natin yung manpower ng mas maayos. Kumbaga, kunyari si employee number 1, malakas siyang magluto. Si employee number 2, malakas siyang maglinis. Parang proper alignment tayo. Ganun. Ngayon, allocation. So, resource allocation, from the word allocation, hindi lang siguro sa budget, na hindi lang pag-allocate ng budget, but also siguro sa manpower. Since alam na natin yung skills and experience na. Ganun. Lastly is yung performance improvement. So, sa performance improvement, since nag-improve na sila, matutulungan tayo na ma-reach yung goal or magkaroon ng achievement sa isang organization. Mga ganun. So, overall, si scope need assessment is a way, para ma-identify natin yung nagiging pressure point o yung nagiging hinder sa isang organization na ma-actionan ng maayos. So, thank you and God bless.